A lightsaber duel isn't just a battle, it's a language. Each swing, each stance, each flick of the wrist tells a story written in plasma in motion. To the untrained eye, it's a flash of blue against red, but to a Jedi or a Sith, it's an extension of the soul. For millennia, Force wielders have refined this deadly dance into 7 distinct forms, each with its own rhythm, philosophy, and purpose. Some strike with raw emotion, others defend with impenetrable calm, and the few who master all 7, they become legends. From Yoda to Windu, from Vader to Sidious, these forms have shaped the fate of galaxies. So ignite your saber, we're diving into the 7 forms of lightsaber combat. We start with the beginning. Form 1, Shii-Cho, also called the determination form. The one every Jedi learns first. This form isn't elegant, it's not fancy, but it's pure. Shii-Cho dates back to the earliest lightsabers, when Jedi were still figuring out how to wield plasma blades without slicing their own limbs off. It's wide swings, broad momentum, big arcing strikes meant to target limbs and disarm, not kill. Great for crowd control, not so much for finesse. It shines in training rooms and battlefield chaos, but in a duel, it's outdated. That's why most Jedi only keep it in their back pocket. Still, in the hands of someone like Kit Fisto, Shii-Cho becomes a dance of chaos. His duel against General Grievous in Clone Wars is a prime example. He holds his own longer than most, using Shii-Cho's unpredictability to counter Grievous's speed. Even in the Jedi Temple, younglings are still seen sparring with it, blades humming, deflecting blaster bolts as their first step toward mastery. Every Jedi starts here, and many come back to it when all else fails, because sometimes the basics win the fight. Up next is Form 2, Makashi, a duelist dream. Where Shii-Cho was brute and broad, Makashi is sharp and surgical. Designed specifically for lightsaber-on-lightsaber combat, Makashi is what you'd expect if fencing evolved in a galaxy far, far away. It's the form of control, precision, grace under fire. Count Dooku? Yeah, he didn't just master it, he was it. His every movement was a lesson in elegance. During his duel with Anakin and Obi-Wan in Attack of the Clones, Dooku moved like he was correcting students, effortless parries, pinpoint counters. When he took on Anakin again in Revenge of the Sith, Makashi's precision gave way to brutal efficiency, until Skywalker's Form 5 overwhelmed it with sheer power. Makashi isn't built for defense against blasters, and that's its flaw. It became rare in the Clone Wars, where Jedi needed to block more than duel. But in single combat, a Makashi master is terrifying. It's often used by Sith, who prize dominance and control. And when wielded by someone like the Grand Inquisitor or Asajj Ventress, Makashi becomes something colder, something personal. This form isn't about swinging harder, it's about not needing to swing twice. Now let's talk about the Fortress. Form 3, Soresu, the resilience form. You know that thing Jedi do, calmly batting away a storm of blaster bolts with their lightsaber like they're brushing lint off their robe? That's Soresu in action. Born out of necessity, Soresu was the Jedi's answer to an increasingly trigger-happy galaxy. Blasters became more common. Duels became rare. Soresu stepped up. It's tight, controlled, defensive to a fault. Where other forms open you up for offense, Soresu teaches you to survive. Deflect, parry, reflect, wait. Let your opponent exhaust themselves, and when they make a mistake, you end it with a single strike. Obi-Wan Kenobi was Soresu's master. From the Clone Wars to Mustafar, his calm presence and unbreakable defense were what let him survive battles that should have killed him. Even against Anakin, arguably more powerful, Obi-Wan's Soresu turned Anakin's aggression against him. He didn't outmuscle him, he outlasted him. Soresu isn't flashy, but it's why Jedi survived the Clone Wars as long as they did. It's not about dominating, it's about enduring, and sometimes that's how you win. Enough defense. Now we fly. Form 4, Ataru, is the art of aggression, a whirlwind of motion powered by acrobatics, unpredictability, and the Force itself. Jedi who practice Ataru don't just fight, they perform. The most legendary? Grand Master Yoda. In battle, he was a blur, leaping off walls, flipping through the air, striking from angles no enemy could predict. Ataru allowed his small frame to dominate foes twice his size, including Count Dooku and Darth Sidious. But Ataru demands everything. Speed, stamina, constant movement. It's not a form for the weary, and definitely not for the old, unless you're Yoda, of course. That's why Qui-Gon Jinn, another Ataru user, eventually relied less on it as age slowed him down. Ataru is breathtaking to watch. It dazzles, distracts, devastates. But it's risky. Overextend and you're exposed. Miscalculate and your aggression becomes your downfall. That's why Jedi infuse their moves with the Force, letting instinct and momentum guide them in a blur of strikes, spins, and somersaults. Ataru isn't just a lightsaber style, it's a storm in motion. If Soresu is the wall, Form 5 is the hammer. Shien and Djem, two sides of the same devastating form. One is for blasters, the other is for blades. Both carry the same philosophy. Why just block when you can hit back harder? Shien was designed for Jedi in the field. Troopers, smugglers, bounty hunters, when they fired, you fired back. Deflecting blaster bolts right into their faces became an art form. But when it came to lightsaber duels, Djem was the move. Anakin Skywalker lived by it. Strength met strength. Parry, pivot, strike. He didn't just defend, he responded with brute force, knocking his opponents off balance and overwhelming them. Even after his fall as Darth Vader, this style defined his every move, relentless and unforgiving. His Padawan Ahsoka Tano preferred Shien, dual-wielding in reverse grip, flowing like water and fire at once. If Soresu was defense first and Ataru was offense on steroids, Form 5, Shien and Djem asked a simple question: why not both? Form 5 was developed by Jedi who thought Soresu was too passive. Instead of just surviving, they wanted to push back, hard. So they turned defense into offense, redirecting energy and momentum into powerful counterattacks. Shien is the blaster specialist. It's what you use when droids are raining down fire and you want to send those bolts right back where they came from. It also introduced the iconic reverse grip, used to devastating effect by Ahsoka Tano. Watching her dual-wield Shien in the Clone Wars and Rebels, that's Form 5 with flair. Djem, on the other hand, is all about lightsaber dueling. Big blocks, crushing ripostes. It's the power stance of saber forms. No one embodied Djem more than Anakin Skywalker. Watch his fights in Revenge of the Sith, especially the battle on Mustafar. Those sweeping attacks and controlled brutality, classic Djem. Even as Darth Vader, his strikes became slower but heavier. Form 5 adapted with him. Form 5 says, you strike me, I strike back harder. And when wielded by someone with raw power, it ends fights fast. Now we enter the realm of balance. Form 6, Niman, also called the Diplomat's form. While other styles lean into specialization, blaster deflection, acrobatics, brute force, Niman is all about equilibrium. It blends techniques from Forms 1 through 5, crafting a jack-of-all-trades style for Jedi who want versatility without obsession. Niman doesn't demand athletics like Ataru or precision like Makashi. Instead, it emphasizes integration. Users mix in force abilities mid-duel, telekinesis, pushes, mind tricks. It's for the Jedi who wants to control the battlefield, not dominate it. But let's be real, some saw Niman as lazy, the safe form, a little bit of everything, a master of nothing. Except when Darth Maul used it. His dual blade fighting style in The Phantom Menace, that was Niman elevated by sheer ferocity. He didn't just blend forms, he turned Niman into a storm of kinetic terror. And Jedi like Exar Kun or Jedi Battlemaster Sin Dralig proved that in the right hands, Niman could be just as lethal as any form on this list. In the final years of the Republic, many Jedi preferred Niman. It represented control, discipline, balance between force and blade. But balance, as we know in Star Wars, is always a tricky thing to hold. And now we enter forbidden territory. Form 7, the edge of lightsaber arts, the line between Jedi and Sith. Known by two names, Juyo and Vaapad, this is the most unpredictable, aggressive, and emotionally charged form ever created. Juyo was raw fury given form. It channeled rage, passion, and instinct. Attacks came from wild angles, in chaotic rhythms, pushing opponents off balance before they even raised their blade. But here's the thing, Juyo flirted dangerously with the dark side. It demanded emotion, something Jedi weren't supposed to use. Most who studied it fell to darkness. Darth Sidious mastered Juyo and perfected it. You don't duel 3 Jedi Masters at once without that level of vicious elegance. Then came Vaapad. Developed by Mace Windu, Vaapad wasn't just a style, it was a philosophy. It let the Jedi dip into the storm of their inner darkness, without being consumed by it. Vaapad didn't suppress emotions, it redirected it, weaponized it, and turned the chaos of battle into clarity. Only a few could wield it, and even fewer survived it. But when Windu stood toe-to-toe with Darth Sidious, and won, it proved something. Vaapad wasn't just powerful, it was the only form capable of fighting darkness, by dancing with it. Mastering all 7 forms of lightsaber combat, that's not just skill, it's devotion. This isn't like learning a few flashy moves and calling it a day. Each form represents a different mindset, a different piece of philosophy. Some are rooted in peace, others in aggression, and the rarest walk the razor's edge between light and dark. To truly wield a lightsaber, not just as a weapon, but as an extension of the Force, it means understanding yourself, your strengths, your weaknesses, your purpose. Obi-Wan once said that lightsabers were an elegant weapon for a more civilized age. And he was right, because behind every duel, every clash of blades, is a pursuit not of violence, but of balance. The Jedi seek mastery, not to conquer, but to become whole. The Sith seek mastery, not to understand, but to dominate. And in the middle of it all, between serenity and rage, lies the truth. Lightsaber combat isn't about defeating your opponent, it's about confronting yourself. Only then will the Force truly be with you. So there you have it, all 7 forms of lightsaber combat, from the calm precision of Makashi to the unrelenting chaos of Vaapad. Each form tells a story, of balance and fury, of Jedi and Sith, of philosophy, instinct, and power. Whether you'd leap like Yoda, endure like Obi-Wan, or rage like Mace Windu, one thing's clear. In a galaxy where the Force flows through every clash of blades, your style is your soul. So, which form would you master? Drop it in the comments, and may the Force guide your blade.